Right, so we're still in Amedzofe and Godwin is still with me, and in fact, he's giving us everything we need to know. Right behind us is the German cemetery. A cemetery set aside purposely or solely for the Germans. When they passed, this is where they were buried. In the 20th century, right? Now, whether it's still being used, whether other people are being buried here, we're yet to find out. But when you come to Amedzofe and you want the German cemetery, this is it. Very historical, very monumental, and it connects directly to the EP Church. So the EP Church, I know definitely you're hearing, songs or music being played in the background. That's coming from the EP Church, and this is the cemetery. Godwin, you've brought us here.
Yep.
I'm sure we have interesting stories in there that we're going to be sharing with the rest of the world.
For sure.
People want to know. And you might want to speak up a bit for me for your sound to be clear due to the sound coming from the church.
Okay.
So do we go in? Or
sure.
you give us intro?
I will give you an intro and then we just go in.
Right.
So as you rightly said, it is actually a German cemetery.
Right.
That was meant to bury Germans, indigenous that actually passed on from this very land. However, at a point in time, as they've all gone to their various countries, now we choose to actually bury the hierarchy of the EP Church of Ghana that came into the community as a result of them in this cemetery now. So basically, that is what we do. However, there are a whole lot of other interesting stories in there that might interest you. So even as the Germans actually came and left, it has always remained more or less a legacy.
It's a legacy.
It's a legacy.
Yeah.
So people from far away always come to have a look at it because of how it has been preserved and all of that. So you're welcome.
So now the hierarchy of the EP Church in Amedzofe, they are buried here, those in top ranking positions. So kindly lead us in. We're getting into the cemetery to see what is in the German cemetery. Maybe we might be able to see the first tomb of the first German that was buried here. And starting from here.
Right here.
Right here.
Joseph Schroeder.
Right here, the name is Joseph Schroeder. Joseph Schroeder, 1864. Joseph Schroeder, 1864. My German is bad. Gebden, 15th March, 1864. And then I'm sure he died 29th November, 1890. Rome 1:14 verse 8. Romans 14 verse 8. That's it. So the 1864 and the 1890, what do they represent? Is he born and when he died or what?
Yes, that is it. When he was born and when he actually died on the land.
So he died young?
Yes. Most of them actually died young as a result of malaria.
Most of them died young as a result of malaria. So from 1864 to 1890, how many years? So 6 will give you 27 years?
Yes.
No, 26 years.
Yes, 27 years or so. All of them died so young.
All of them died so young. So is this the first tomb?
This is the first tomb.
The first tomb of the German cemetery?
This is it.
Okay.
And the rest of the tombs you probably are seeing.
Yes.
An example is that Reverend something.
Yes. So that is Reverend Robert Stephen.
Yes, they were actually...
Kwame. Reverend Robert Stephen Kwame.
Yes. They were part of actually the first team that received Christ on their land. As a result of that, the Germans actually influenced highly their lives.
Okay.
And it is basically for this reason that some of them were able to even travel to Germany to preach the gospel.
Right.
They were allowed that privilege.
To travel and preach.
Yes. And that, till we speak today, has affected positively their homes, as to the fact that none of them is actually lacking behind anymore. So
is this Reverend part of the Ninyina tribe?
No, he's different.
He's different.
Yes.
But so there were certain homes that were greatly influenced by the Germans and they have become successful.
Yes.
Till date.
Till date.
They have become successful to date. So this is Reverend Robert Stephen Kwame.
Yes.
First synod clerk of the EP.
Exactly. And it's the Kwame's family.
It's the Kwame's family.
So they are all making it big. And they never stop because of the Germans' influence.
And he actually died in 1945.
Yes. He died in 1945.
from 1879. He was born 1879, died 1945.
Yes.
And the tomb is here.
And most of those families that the Germans actually influenced,
Yeah.
some are the Dachais family.
Dachais family.
Yes.
Okay.
And also the Adinyina family.
The Adinyina family.
With a few more others.
Right. You know, as I can't step on that tomb,
Yes.
you know, so
It
maybe
will be
unless
like-
I stand here. Yes. Unless I stand here. So
And
the Adinyina family, the
Duchess family,
Duchess family, the Kwame families.
so on and so forth. And these all families are doing well and great as
Till
we
today.
speak. Till today.
So they were part of the first set of families that accepted Christ
That accepted Christ.
from the Germans.
From the Germans.
And they've become successful.
They become successful.
So was it, did the Germans help them to become successful?
They did. They influenced not only their religious status, but financial-wise, they supported them heavily.
Yeah.
So as a result of that, they actually gained much education in the town. And it is this that is still going on today.
Till today.
Till today.
So it's a strategy. So you accept, we help you become successful. And the people look at how successful you become and they all come to accept what we brought.
Yes, the gospel actually is believed to be good news.
Yes.
So if you are in poverty, you can't actually term that as good news. So they must influence your life positively.
For your life
That
to
is
become the good news.
the good
so that
news.
people will see your life and
Yes.
also convert
Exactly.
from traditional people to become Christians.
Yes.
Beautiful history. I told you that when we get into the cemetery, you will definitely have interesting stories. Now, there's one other story. He might have many, but I'm also interested in this particular one. The tomb of a catechist who was also, excuse me to say, a drunk, you know, or alcoholic. He took so much alcohol, yet he was so deep into the word of God. Catechist cum alcoholic. He died and he was also buried here as a high-ranking EP church member. So these are the tombs. Let's have a
go
wide
to
look
that,
at them.
please.
So these are all tombs. These are all tombs
Of the late Germans.
of the late Germans. This is another late German, Joe George Holzapiel. No, Joe George Holzapiel, missioner. He died in 1896. From 1870 to 1896. Like they die young.
Very, very young.
Yes, they die young.
20 years and
26 years. 26 years. In loving memory of Reverend Paulo Ntumiche. Reverend Paulo Ntumiche, 1943. And these are their tombs. So you could see that these are the early tombs.
Yes.
If you look at them and the current ones, you see the vast difference. Interesting. And so let's get down here.
And this actually is the tomb of the catechist you were talking about.
This is the tomb of the catechist I just spoke about.
Exactly.
His name is Catechist Cephas Yao Tokpo.
Yes. He was not only a drunk, but he was equally friendly. That is what gave him popularity in the town. Friendly as to the extent that one very Sunday, as everybody was at church except a few back home, he was busily taking alcohol in the community, palm wine, in a palm wine shop. So there was one church member who was passing that very day. And then when he actually saw the catechist, he whispered or he shouted that, "Why should you be drinking on this faithful day when everybody is at church and you are a catechist?" Then he got a little bit funny and said, "Did you just call me catechist? Add another calabash to my palm wine." So another calabash was really giving him, and he became so intoxicated that day that he couldn't go to the church anymore. So he's always remembered for this very act of his. Yes, they were funny acts. And all of
He actually died in 2009. Yes,
not too
quite
long.
recent.
Quite
He
recent.
was born in 1933 and died in 2009. He was 76 years old.
Yes.
And there's I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. 2 Timothy 4 verse 7. Even though he was alcoholic, he fought the good fight. Cephas Yao Tokpo, the late catechist. Interesting story here. This is still the German cemetery, and you could see that his tomb is quite recent, looking at it. And there are other tombs.
Yes.
So, and this space is still left for, you know, who will die next
To be buried.
from the EP church to be buried. Oh,
And to cut in sharply, it is basically not only the hierarchy of the church.
Let's take a walk. Let's take a walk, yes.
It is not only the hierarchy of the church now that is buried here,
Okay.
but also those from the royal homes.
Those from the royal homes are also buried here.
Yes, that is the chiefs as well as big people from the royal homes.
Okay.
And so this is, let me see, Darosa.
Yeah.
Those who knew you, this Darosa.
This Darosa
is just the mother of the chief of the community.
Those who knew you and knew your worth will always remember you.
Yes.
Darosa. This is the mother of the chief of the community.
The chief of the community. That's, you can see it better from here.
Wow.
Darosa.
Darosa, yes. In loving memory of Mrs. Rosalia Yawa Atikwi Ne Anku. She died in 2004, aged 82. Rest in peace. Wow. I see 2 old tombs here. I want to see who's there.
Their names are lost.
Their names are lost.
Completely.
Their names are lost completely.
Very
Could it be a husband and wife or twins? Because the way they are placed next to each other.
That could be.
I'm sure it has a story, but their names are lost.
That could be, and I believe they are tombs of Germans, actually.
They are tombs of Germans.
They are very, very old.
Very, very old. One of the first set of tombs here. Very, very old. So this is the German cemetery. In case you visit, Amedzofe, if you ever visit Amedzofe and you want to get the, historic places or places you can actually come and see and witness something, this is where you would have to come. So let's see who is here. In loving memory of Obed Kweku,
Awurasi is equally one of the families that the Germans influence.
Mr. Dameji. Mr. Dameji, one of the families that the Germans influenced, which means they were part of the families that accepted Christ.
And so became prosperous.
And so became prosperous.
Yes.
Wow. He died in 2009. He was born in 1922. Whew. I think I've had a lot of info from here to share with you. This is Amedzofe. This is the German cemetery. If you've ever heard of it, this is the place. If you come, ask about it, and I'm sure Godwin, I know by the end of the day, a lot of you, can we get Godwin's number? Yesterday, when we went to Benin, loads of you are asking for contact. Can we get a contact to that Skype? If you ask me, I'll connect you to Godwin, and he's affable, friendly, and very, very, very experienced. Please, let's take a walk. Let's take a walk. Eddie, you want us to see some more? So this is Reverend Daniel Kojo Adinyira. Reverend Daniel Kojo Adinyira. Oh, nothing gets missing. Adinyira, born 1878 and died in 1974, aged 104. In loving memory, Adinyira. Nothing gets missing. Reverend Max Odonko Azamede, in loving memory, with all due respect, born 1893 and died in 1978, 85 years old. Interesting. And then we also have senior presbyter Manfred Onemi Komla Osika. Senior Onemi Komla Osika. Yes. Born 1895 and died 1984. Let me check this one out. This is one old tomb as well. This tomb is very old. Let me see if I can get the name. Jegblo. Yes. The first one I can't see, but I see Jegblo. Reverend C.E. Jegblo. You know, he died in July 1991. Right.
He died in 12th June.
He died, no, not 12 June. Born 12 June 1912 and died 23rd July 1991.
They were all reverends.
They were all reverends. Yes. So truly, this is the cemetery for the Germans, and the high-ranking members of the EP Church. We'll leave it here. Visit the place and see for yourself. We have opened it up to you. We've shown you that there is some place like this. Come and see it. We are.